So, good morning. What's going on? Right, I've just left Middlewich, Lymm. That's Lymm, definitely Lymm. I finally got the sort of e-bike sorted out. Thank you very much as well to Pippa for, you know, all her help and patience, because there were a couple of glitches. But no, I'm not going to get tempted. I'm not going into the e-bike thing. So anyway, hope you like the hat. I'm very pleased. I wouldn't call it a triumph of fashion exactly, but I think it's got a certain je ne sais quoi, you know. I know, I think I do still look like a flower pot man. The sun is out big time today. Not big time like July, because this is early May, 7th of May, because it's the day after the coronation. So we just left Lymm, right? Let me talk you through the journey, right? Because the reason I'm heading east is that ultimately, in a few days, couple of days, I want to end up in Manchester. I feel like this hat is verging on comedy. I don't know whether I'm being harsh on it. If it just stood its ground a little bit, like that maybe. Anyway, so back to the plan. The plan is to reach Manchester, but it's Sunday. It's a bank holiday weekend, so you know, Sunday today, bank holiday Monday tomorrow, in honour of the coronation. So I don't want to go into Manchester today, or possibly not tomorrow, and the reason for that is because with it being a bank holiday, I feel like a lot of boats will have headed that way into the city, and the basin has very limited, it's called Castlefield Basin, very limited mooring space really. So I don't want to arrive in Manchester today, so I'm gonna go about just a short hop, 4 or 5 miles today, that kind of thing. So absolutely, I think they're called King Charles Spaniels. They say that, wasn't it Prince Rupert who had a spaniel or something? Anyway, dangerous job for a spaniel, to be fair, like, but morning. I think the hat, can I just check it out? The hat has had a significant impact on my social interactions already, I feel. People are definitely reacting to the hat, and I'm not sure, I feel like it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's getting a response from the general public. And you know, the price of this is hat hair, but it was a disgrace anyway before I started, to be honest. But yeah, I feel like people are reacting to me slightly differently than when I'm hatless. You know, I think I've got a hot head. It's large, and I think it operates at a high temperature, really, comparatively speaking. And I could do with getting a haircut as well. It's probably a bit thick at the moment, so perhaps in Manchester I can get sorted with a haircut. You know what I mean? Sorry about that. But it's preferable to the alternative, which is the sun right on your head. That's even hotter. And it's early doors as well. A dog up ahead has just jumped into the canal. There's a dog ahead just jumped into the canal, so I'm going to slow down, because there's a moored boat and a dog. There's nothing like watching a happy dog to cheer you up. Morning. Yeah, people are definitely not as effusive with the good mornings, I'm finding. They're just a bit more guarded. I'm not sure why that is. Well, I mean, it could be my appearance, you know, with these awful trousers. means you've now got white powder stains to add to the existing horrors. The other issue I feel may rear its very ugly head today is that of horseflies. They've got a rowboat so they can go sculling up and down. Is that what it's called? Sculling or rowing? I'm throwing in words which I'm not sure of the meaning of. I think that you would call that the Cheshire Plain, or part of the Cheshire Plain, I think. We are, I think, heading roughly east. And on this side, a series of industrial units. So yeah, a variety of industrial units, but it's a slightly odd place for them because you are a few miles from the nearest big habitations. You know, Lymm isn't a big town, it's a small town, and even that's like a mile or two back. I'm looking at the official facilities run by Peel, and they are very limited. You know, apparently there's bins in Manchester, and I don't think I've come across any refuse disposal so far. It must be like 3 weeks now since I left the Trent and Mersey and came onto the Bridgewater, and I've not been able to get rid of any rubbish at all. So it's getting out of hand. But if I can get rid of a couple, I'll feel a little bit better, because the cratch is just unspeakably horrible at the moment, just full of rubbish. People aren't as effusive. I wonder if it's the hat. I did feel like it was getting a reaction. Is the hat intimidating people? Do I look like some sort of 90s drug dealer? Not sure what to make of this one. Oh. He was mooring the guy behind me, look. Oh no. I can slow down. This canal is so broad. He's taking his turn. He's using the canal as a winding, the whole canal. I went too fast past those moored boats, and for no purpose. That was a car who's approaching a hill, and that going over the thing behind me, approaching a hill, approaching a bridge, and they beat. Why am I even explaining that? You know that very well, don't you? They beat. I suppose I'm thinking of like overseas viewers might not read my international audience, of which there are about 6, I think. I keep meaning to sort of say smash that like button, and I think like I've got to give them a motivation to do that. Morning guys, morning. Oh my god. Family of newborn swans. There's a family of newborn swanlings, swanlets. Anyway, it's baby swans. And it'll be a lucky predator that gets them, I'll tell you. The Swan is just badass. Right, here's the water point up ahead. Brilliant. Absolute result. I'm getting a bit excited about hoses because I've got a new one coming. I've ordered a new one. I mean, this is a great hose, right? Let's have it right. This is a great hose. It packs down really small and it's super convenient. But you're seeing it in operation now under ideal circumstances. It's prone to knotting like this. Not a showstopper, but it is, it's something worth mentioning. The bigger issue for me with these is that by definition they have to lay on the ground like that. Oh, and they often sink into the water. I'm not a fan of that. So this is why, right, I'm not massively fond of the current hose. By definition, it sort of lays along the ground. In the summer, when it's dry, it's kind of okay, it gets a bit grubby, dusty, whatever. But in the winter, the thing is basically just filthy. It's just filthy, constantly. And, you're drinking water's coming out of that and it's laying, the outside is laying on the ground, often in the mud. It all bunches up and then it just fits into the little box, like so. But I'm just not a fan of it being on the floor the whole time. So I've ordered a new hose and, well, I'll explain the amazing new hose when I've got it. Quick visual check, no boats coming up ahead. Time to go. So, cute little tiny GLP boat there, look, like a little day boat thing. How incredibly cute is that? Chippy tea, a chippy tea with a little thing on the back. That is brilliant. Right, so back to the plan, right? Back to the cunning plan. Don't know if this is really cunning, to be honest. Possibly not. I don't like stopping in built-up areas, certainly when I'm the only boat. Absolutely no go, because you're just an automatic target for scallywags and things. So this is where I moored with Richard the other week. This little stretch here. I'm pretty sure it was here. And remember that GRP boat up ahead being there? I thought they would be moving you on if you stayed so long in one place. I thought Peel was sort of all over it, Anyway, none of my business really, strictly speaking, is it? So, right, okay. I'm just going to give a quick spray of the force flight preventer. It's this. It's for horses. Look, there's the little GRP. I think we met the guy whose boat it is. I think it was about midday when we bumped into him, and he was kind of off his face, to be honest. He looked like he'd already had a skinful before lunch. So that's pretty key. It's not much more than a mile, certainly not much more than 2. We're on the approach to the outskirts of Altrincham. But I'm going to stop on the outskirts because I don't think it's a rough town. But there are places where you can get more on the edge of a town and feel fairly safe. I don't know what Altringham's like. I've never been. but I suspect it'll be fairly well to do and I'll be fairly safe. Now, here's a more sobering sight. Up ahead I can see on the left, under the cover of the tree slightly, there is a tent. That's never a good sign. It's staying well above zero. In fact, the average temperature last night was like 11 degrees. So it's comfortably above zero. But it's not what you want to be doing. None of the poor guys who do that, or so real few of them, would really want to do it. I wonder if some people travel the country via towpaths. Look, I'll give you a little view of the camp. It could be a bikepacker, because that's a very popular modern trend. Oh, there's a stove. That's got the look of a sort of a permanent camp about it. It looks like an unusual boat coming up on the right. I want to sort of check this out. I love this kind of boat. Like a launch or a motorboat. I love those. Crowded as hell though. But so yeah, the huge town of Manchester and its outlying towns is sort of ahead of us, and it starts with Altrincham, like a southern suburb, in about, I think, less than 2 miles. I think a couple more reps. Why the hell not? If I've got a staircase lock, you know, or a flight that I've heard one or two things about problems, I do tend to have a look the night before, sometimes a couple of nights before, on YouTube, at people's vlogs who've gone through, and they're really useful. Floating our boat did a vlog about Chester staircase locks. You learn even more because they got it slightly wrong in the second chamber. So therefore, because it was broke, it wasn't their fault, it wasn't working properly. It was partly their fault. Anyway, playing games to me. Idiots. No, they're a lovely couple and that, but they were caught out by the second lock. It still didn't work out because we had a right palaver, because the second one, the middle one, I think I'd warned my helper that it might be empty, too low, but somehow it hadn't gotten through. So there was a right old palaver, and a couple of boaters helped us out and helped her, because I was down in lock. She's like 20 feet above me. Engine noise, water noise, couldn't hear a thing we were saying to each other. But a couple of boaters came up from the basin and they helped out, and we got through. That was quite funny. But that was in winter, you see. I think that was early January. I think it was a weekday, and so there were no volunteers, so you had to do it yourself. Hiya. It's funny when you're the only boat moving on a given day in a popular place with lots of children, walkers, you know, families, you become a sort of a tourist attraction. This here is the first mooring option, and that's fine, that's all fine. But what we've got is a bend, and we've got another one, another mooring option, like 4 miles as a crow flies, so maybe half a mile, a bit more than half a mile, just on the outskirts of town. And I don't know what it's like. If it's rings, brilliant, I'll use that. But if it's rubbish and I don't like it, I'll come back here. So anyway, now I'm in mooring mode now. So I'm looking here, and the real surprise is not a single moving boat apart from the guy who turned around behind me. It looks very rural, but the map is telling me, you know, not far ahead here is a major conurbation. It really is. It's not, you know, it's bigger than the likes of your Chester and those sorts of things. But not a boat in sight. Where's all the boats? I would have thought there'd be a couple of boats moored up here. This is, I've got to say though, it's absolutely lovely. There's no boats either. Damn. I was really hoping there'd be a boat. Well, it is what it is. I can see how safe it feels. People probably looking at all the fields, watching this thing, and what do you mean safe? Of course it's safe. But up ahead is a giant town. Literally 500 yards. So, I think I might as well go here, mightn't I? Why are there no boats though? Really don't want to be on my own, but there's nothing I can do. I think I'm going to have to call it. I'm going to have to call it here. Just need to get the boat a little bit further in. Looks pretty well to do though, you know. I think this will be okay, this. A little mooring just up ahead there is the outskirts of Altrincham. Beautiful little location, and down this way back towards Lymm.